The Blind Tony Story, Book 4, Chapter 5. Even though I was still only in my early 20s, I had been given a crash course on love, life, and human behavior. I don't know whether it was my random choice, my parents' persistent, consistent prayers, God's faithful love, some predetermined plan, all part or none of the above. But I do know that God was always right there. He was there hugging me and holding me under the fire hydrant in Philly with Teddy Bear. He was there teaching me about the unpredictability of human behavior when that little boy threw my tricycle through the cold bin window. And then my father hit me in response. He was there in Benita's faithful love. He was also there in Apollonia's betrayal. He was there protecting me when I was a Black Panther and doing armed robberies, but he was also there condemning me when I hit my father. He was in every one of my mother's bologna sandwiches, and he was also there in North Road's fish head soup. He was in the wind and waters of the March 3rd storm, but he was also in that eerie peace and calm that I felt that time when I was drowning. He was in the overwhelmingly awesome power of that giant fish that I had hooked. And he was also present in my current confusion and feelings of failure. I was too selfishly preoccupied with my feelings of pain, anger, loneliness, and fear to give it much thought. But I did see, however, that Jack London's assessment of conflicts falling into three categories: man versus man, man versus nature, and man versus himself, were all definitely true. But I also think that the true nature of all conflicts can be found in the fourth category, which I created, called man versus God. More on that later. But now let's get back to the story. My whole world had just collapsed, and I could truly identify with that Lou Rawls song, "Love is a Hurting Thing," and that Temptations song, "Since I Lost My Baby." I wasn't even sure who I was anymore. Revolutionary, bandit, dope dealer, musician, martial artist, photographer, hippie, triblippy, bandit, all of the above, none of the above. I just didn't even know anymore. I had allowed my love for Apollonia to define my entire existence. I had never once cheated on her. I guess I was naive. Maybe. Maybe I was just faithful. Maybe I was content and in love. I don't know. But anyway, Apollonia and I still lived in the same house, and we shared the same bed, and we followed the same daily routine as before. I even picked up and dropped off Eddie with the rest of them when I did it for the work. But there was a silence that spoke louder than any words could ever have said, had we chosen to speak. But we both remained mute. I would lie in bed next to her, her back turned to me, my arm wrapped around her waist, and I would reflect. We didn't make love. We didn't talk. And we didn't sleep. Pride kept me from telling my friends what had really happened. Deep down inside, I still loved her very much. And I knew as women go, I really couldn't improve on her. Yet I couldn't stay because something had been stolen that couldn't be replaced. Anyway, I continued to get high, and in fact, that's pretty much all I did. I had no plan. I was just there. But I did, however, confide in Aaron, and he too was devastated, and he even asked me if I was really sure that she had cheated on me. I think we both learned a lesson about women from Apollonia. Solomon says in the Bible, in Proverbs, that you might find one honest man out of 1,000, but you would never find one honest woman out of that same amount. Now that sounds cold and biased, but Solomon was supposed to be the world's wisest man, at least according to the Bible. And yet, he himself succumbed to the same trap that he was warning everybody else about. Anyway, Aaron, too, was having more than his share of problems, and he was too ashamed also to speak about them, except to me. His business was going under. Bad drug deals and substance abuse were taking a toll on him. He, too, was at his wits' end, and he was in the process of liquidating his assets in order to cut his losses. We got high and dreamed. I told him that I just wanted to get away someplace I had never been before, just to see what it would be like and start over again. And then he said, "Have you ever thought about going to California?" And I said, "Yeah, I've thought about it." And that's how our plan was born. He knew people out there, and he told me that I did too, people we had gone to school with. But I was so numb between my life and love and dope, and I didn't even know. I just wanted to get away and start all over again. If it didn't work out, then I could always come back. We both started making plans and saying goodbyes. His parents frowned on the idea, and so did mine. But we were determined to go anyway. There was a guy named Barney who was going to go with us. He was a mutual friend who lived not far from Aaron, and he had gone to school with the both of us. And he was a very good person who just wanted to see the world. The three of us were going to share all the expenses, and we were going to drive non-stop in Aaron's straight shift on the column, blue Dodge Valiant. And since we all had valid driver's license, we would all take turns driving. The goodbyes were hard, especially for our parents and families. My parents had reservations about me riding cross country in a car with two white boys going to an unknown destination, but their faith in God was stronger than their fear, and they knew that once I had made up my mind, I wasn't going to be deterred anyway. Aaron's family also had reservations about him driving cross country with a black guy in the car. But they too knew it was time for him to leave the nest. My friends already perceived me as an adventurer and an explorer, so everyone just wished me well. Apollonia was cool and nonchalant, but still she looked incredibly beautiful. The night before I left, we made love, and it was a bittersweet experience that left much more than my seed inside of her.